right, I think we are live. Hello, Chris.
Hey
Welcome.
Kevin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Fantastic, fantastic. Really glad to be here. It's always good to be with friends, right? And
Yes,
when was the last time we were together? Was that in a token?
it was in Dubai. Yeah, we were
Yeah,
standing at the rooftop,
the best.
drinking
Oh yeah, and the best
cocktail.
party you guys hosted for sure.
Oh yeah, that was a killer, right? It was such a good event and so exclusive and so beautiful. The food was great, people were great. So
One
that's
hundred
that's
percent,
really something we remember.
100%, 100%.
All
So
right. So yeah, let's get started. I know my community is super excited about this AMA and they just want to know everything about you and Straight Fire. So let's kick off.
so
Um,
obviously everybody always like, okay, so what is straight fire, right? So I think the short three-word answer is we tokenize entertainment. So that
yes.
basically means that we turn movies, music, games, reality TV shows, like the IP itself, into investable digital assets. So you can basically think of us as like a bridge between media and on-chain capital. So
Brilliant.
that basically means like we're creating like a new asset class, entertainment IPs that can basically anybody can now fund, own, and trade. And traditionally, like only studios, big labels, production houses, and insiders could profit from IP. But we're trying to open this up to retail and institutional investors, and giving them early access to the next cultural phenomena, right? And whether that's a Netflix series or a mobile game or a new music metaverse, everything is included in it.
Sounds like a huge market to me. And as we all know, entertainment is the most and fastest growing industry. And yeah, you can see from AI and many technologies taking over that more time is going to be, the biggest resource. And what happens then? People want entertainment. So I really understand why you chose to go all in on this vertical.
Yeah, and it's
And
basically also, Kevin, as you know, right? I think it's because we like the founders and the team, we've been doing this for 25, 30 years, right? So I think what we saw like in the entertainment industry is some flaws. I think every traditional industry over time develops some flaws. And I think one of the flaws that we saw was that if you want to raise money, if you want to get access to the market, there's the decreasing amount of parties you can go to,
yeah,
and that's of course everybody loves Netflix, right? But I think as a consequence of it, by them controlling the biggest budgets and the access to the market, it means that as an IP owner and creator, you end up at the end of the franchise with 5% max, and that cannot be the idea of the entertainment industries, right? Because it will kind
yeah.
of like kill creativity. So when we are saying tokenization of entertainment, right? Of course, the question really is like, what does that mean, right?
What is the
So
meaning? I was about to ask. Yeah,
exactly, yeah. I think so. Let's start with something like everyone kind of like understands in crypto, right? Stable coins. So
yes.
stable coins are just tokenized US dollars, right? And after that came tokenized stocks, opening up like US equity to non-US investors with 24/7 access. And I guess Robinhood just went 100% in on that one, right? So we're doing exactly the same thing, but we're doing it for entertainment IP. So instead of like a share in Apple, you get a share in a film, a show, or a character universe.
Hmm.
And instead of like an illiquid, high barrier media deal, you get fractional access, you have secondary markets, and there's transparency, right? So basically, when you look at tokenized entertainment, right, it means that finally we can treat an IP as an investable asset that it really is. And it's not just like a byproduct of creativity. And through StraightFire, investors can now directly back a piece of the cultural infrastructure. So it could be the next anime hit, it could be the next crossover game, or it could even be like a catalog of music or film rights. And I will get
Yeah,
to
I
that.
was, I was about to say, yeah, you,
Yeah, and I think that is an interesting one, right? Because when you look at those digital securities, They are designed to be compliant, they're trackable, and they're tradable. And that's kind of like bridging the $3 trillion entertainment market with the liquidity of Web3 capital. And I think that's the part where we get really excited, because it's really solving a problem that is currently going on in the world of entertainment. And I think maybe or hopefully as a byproduct, we're not going to have like Marvel Universe movie number 226, but some more exciting new stuff, right?
Yeah, and why not just tokenize a single IP? Why do it as a whole?
Yeah, that's a very good question, right? Because I think you can still do it, but of course it's more risky, right? And instead of that, we're tokenizing IP slates. I think you can see it almost like as an index funds, right? Filled with a lot of different projects. So what it does is it reduces risk, it builds collateral value, and it scale and a network effect, right? And I think you can think of it as like Netflix, like a Netflix portfolio, but then tradable. So what that basically means is that when you look at individual IPs, they can be hit or miss. I think there's plenty of examples around, right? And the slate approach is exactly what Hollywood studios are doing, and major publishing companies and producers are already using. And because it diversifies the exposure across different genres, different formats, and different monetization models. Because mind you, if you invest in a Hollywood movie, before you get to the production stages, you could easily already get like a year and a half through. Then it's 2 years of production. Then you have to finish it. So it's a long time to wait for your money back.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. And I think in the traditional sense, it's completely illiquid, right? So you can only get back based on the revenue and how it's performing. So in this case, of course, by tokenization, you already have the intermediate opportunity to sell and trade. But I think more importantly, when you look at the slate approach, you just kind of like share risk. So we might combine like a high budget streaming show with a mid-budget game and a mobile comic franchise all in one slate. So a lot of transmedia storytelling. And this spreads not only the, I guess, creative, but also the financial risk, while you're are kind of like unlocking a bundle revenue model, like merchandising, licensing, some collectibles. So it's almost structured like a fund, but then packaged for Web3.
Yeah. And why entertainment? Like, was it the 3 trillion that took your attention, or was it also like a personal experience in Hollywood and personal experience?
Kevin, I think we share that part. I think everything it's personal, right? What you guys are building with RWA Inc. And by the way, as your followers already, of course, know, you've done such an amazing job, and it's taken a lot of personal dedication and focus and bypassing hurdle after hurdle after hurdle, because that's just what entrepreneurship is, and particularly if you're being innovative, right? If you go into places where there is no path yet, you have to define that. So for us, it was the same thing. So for those people that don't know, there's 2 co-founders. So there's Su-Yang Zhao, who's originally from China, and my name is Chris. I'm from the Netherlands. And in an ordinary world, our paths would difficultly cross, right? But we're the classic duo. He's the creative visionary. I'm the ops and the business guy. And together we've shipped formats, built IP pipelines, we've launched communities. And STR8FIRE for us is, I guess, the next level, is where everything is coming together. And
agree.
And I think you guys have gone through the same, or you have gone through the same thing also with the team. And I mentioned it to you before, right? We were just developing a new deck, and it felt a little bit like the past 20 years were accumulated into 15 slides. And that's a great feeling. And basically what it means is when you look at our team's experience, right, it spans like worlds of like traditional media with digital economies. We've worked on major TV production, talent agencies, toy companies, Web3 communities. And I guess we know how an IP is made. how it scales, and what makes fans care. So
You're
it's
professionals.
yeah, exactly, and it's this mix of
One
creative
word,
and
professionals.
operational. Yeah, exactly, and it's this mix of creative, operational DNA that makes, I guess, Straight Fire credible. But we're not just theorizing it, right? We've
No,
built in this space. We've done it before. We've gone high. We've gone low. And I think I just want to kind of like mention a couple of people in the team because I think when you look at what they've done, I think it speaks for itself. So let me kind of like start with one of the guys, Ben Locke. He's a BAFTA-winning producer. He's worked across Star Wars, The Mandalorian, Ready Player One, Aquaman, Transformer, Bumblebees. He's worked for Industrial Light and Magic. That's like linked to the Star Wars franchise, for Lucas Animation. And he began his career, which I love, at Aardman Animations, and that was the stop motion one with Grumpet and the clay one. And he's produced like blockbuster animation and VFX projects across Europe, US, Asia. Then we have B. Earl. His real name being Ben, but this is his artist name. He's a Marvel comic writer with credits like Werewolf by Night, Deadly Neighborhood, Spider-Man, the latest Daredevil one. He also runs a production company together with Taboo from the Black Eyed Peas, where he develops like multicultural IPs with Gaumont, their Cartoon Network. And then we have David Vonner, probably the toy OG. He has designed legends like Spider-Man. When he gave me this really nice analogy or like a conversation. So he joined or he developed the first Spider-Man toy when Marvel bought the rights and basically was releasing the first movie. And the only monetization way was the toy. So he's done that. So I think over time, he's been generating like over 100 million in revenue through toys for all these IPs, which is amazing. Then we have Keith Ray. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, I think this is one of the things that a lot of people don't really know. But when you look at the toy market from a monetization point of view, it's such an incredible, powerful tool to have, and merchandising as well, right? I think sometimes we use this phrase, wouldn't it be nice if you could have owned part of Star Wars in 1976 before the first script was being developed, right? And before it became this $50 billion franchise. And when you look at the component of merchandising and toys of that 50 billion, it's incredible. It's incredible. So, we have a guy called Keith Fay. He's been working with Disney, with MTV, Sony TV, Cartoon Network, building IPs across all kinds of different verticals. So, that these are the guys that have gone through it, they've lived it, they've made beautiful things, they've made successful stuff, they've made all IPs that didn't work. And what they all have in common, or what we basically all have in common, is we see something that is broken, we want to fix it with the innovative solution that Web3 is for traditional industries. By picking and choosing those elements that actually make an impact. And I think going back to what we're doing, where we're tokenizing entertainment, it's the tokenization part that actually makes it like a completely liquid investment opportunity.
I would love to hear a little bit more about your tokenization process itself, because we would love to hear how these intangible, non-physical assets are tokenized. That could be very fun to hear.
So I guess that with the Genius Act, right, just being signed by Trump, and kind of like putting the emphasis on, if you create a digital token, it should not be just created. It should be like linked to a real asset, right? And it should be 100% backed by it. I think this is kind of like the area that we are operating in. So when you tokenize, there's a real underlying asset that is revenue generating, that's always linked to it, right? So we have a couple of different products. The first one being STR8FIRE, which is our token platform. And this is basically where the IP becomes a digital asset. So It is built for seamless launch of IP tokens. So you could call it like an IP token generator.
Yeah.
And it's designed to connect with stablecoins, which I guess is the biggest liquidity pool of the next cycle, right?
Yes.
And then it's both Web 2 and it's Web 3 compatible. And I know that what you guys are building, it has the same mindset to it, right? It is of course it's about tokenization, real world assets. But what is as important as the tokenization element is that if we have to do it with the existing Web3 communities, it's great, but we want to scale it. So we have to be accessible for Web2 communities as well. So I think that that's also a big part of what we're trying to do here. Now, when you are, what's kind of like quite unique about us is that the access that we have to the actual assets that we can tokenize. So that's of course where our unique point is that, yeah, everybody can kind of like tokenize an asset. But what if you don't have access to the asset itself? So this is where the second part of what we do comes from, and that's the capital infrastructure. And these are our funds. So we are backing IP with real capital. And that's two funds. One is a $100 million Sukuk fund, which is a Sharia compliant asset-backed fund that targets IPs with strong commercial and ethical frameworks. Now, if somebody hasn't heard of a Sukuk fund, I cannot blame them, because up until half a year ago, I also had never heard of it. But what it basically means is that when you, according to Sharia law, if you invest or if you lend money, you cannot just simply receive an interest payment based on that. It has to be based on real performance. Now, when I look at that, I think it is awesome. It's the way it should be, really. And there needs to be, in this case, an underlying asset that is real. So it's almost like what the Genius Act requires you to have is something that this framework of the fund supports. So how it works is an investment bank creates a special purpose vehicle, which is the fund. They're not going to own it. They are actually going to do the due diligence on all the assets that will be put into the fund, whether they are Sharia compliant, and therefore they will give the Sukuk certificate on the fund.
Very brilliantly solved. Are you also incorporating charity or other things into it, or?
Yeah, so basically some of it is because it is a very important element of the Sharia compliance part. Another one is, and that's specific for entertainment IPs, is there's certain restrictions on type of content that you can put in, right? So obviously, like pornography and
alcohol
and all the stuff that you shouldn't really kind of like be doing anyway, I think is excluded from it. So I think it's a very solid framework that is almost a stamp of approval that the assets that are being tokenized are really there, right? Now, the second part is a $30 million tokenized IP fund that is open to crypto investors and to DAOs and to institutional as well as private investors. Now, when you look at STR8FIRE again, right? STR8FIRE is the IP tokenized IP platform. Now, originally when we started, it was the place for retail token investors to find the IPs to invest in. But
like
exactly. And we've now also added a institutional part to it, and it's very much in line with what you guys have created with your private investors network, right? It's for the ones that can reach a certain threshold. Even with some low investment amounts, you can be part of it, but you actually get in earlier on in the projects or in the IPs, and it's a different way of doing it. And so basically, STR8FIRE is the gateway designed specifically for IP-backed tokens, and whether it's a music catalog or a mobile game or a documentary, STR8FIRE kind of like makes it easy to structure, issue, and distribute the IP tokens to both crypto native users and traditional investors. And our platform is very Web2 friendly, and it's fully KYC, same as yours.
Also a very strong branding you have. I've seen your branding and your identity is very strong, in my opinion.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think, it's also maybe because it's our background a little bit, right?
Yeah,
to
of course. Yeah,
make stuff look good.
but it
So,
shows. It shows.
exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. And the backing of this real world capital is that the tokenized IP fund enables early stage participants in participation in high growth IPs, right? And it's built for angels, for DAOs, for crypto treasuries, looking for cultural driven real yield exposure.
Yeah.
And the Sukuk fund, that's kind of like our game changer. And because
To me, that sounds super bullish. Like, whoa, I didn't even know this before today that you had this big thing going.
Yeah, and I think maybe the kicker of it all is that it gives IP owners a non-dilutive capital. So basically, how it works is it's the money back guarantee plus percentage on the profit. That is the model. And so, as an IP owner, of course, one of the biggest triggers that we found and problems that we're trying to solve is not having to hand out a big percentage of your equity of the IP to investors. And it kind of like answers a lot of that. And basically, in exchange, you have to put a collateral down, but that is quite normal. But at the end of the day, if you can actually pay back the investment amount plus a certain yield based on the profit, you actually own your underlying asset, right? So I think it is for us the best thing that we can give back to the IP creator, right?
That's so exciting, man. And where do you see STR8FIRE go in the future? What's your vision and what's the roadmap? And what journey are we looking into here?
Yeah, so basically when you look at it, right? So I guess maybe non-typical Web3, but we're not rushing launches like just to meet the headlines, right? It's market timing that matters. Yeah. And so when you look from now till Q3, right? We're finalizing the slates and we're onboarding the IPs for the fund, right? And we're building the I guess the audience anticipation around it. And maybe every AMA needs some good alpha, right? So I'm going to give you some alpha that we haven't shared yet. But we are going to do a lot of IP releases through Telegram stickers, and that's a relatively new thing. It was
that's interesting. Also, yeah, I like that.
It was piloted by Sticker X, and they have done it with Pudgy Penguins, with Bored Ape Yacht Club. And now one of our IPs that we own the license to is Old Dirty Bastard, and there will be and it will be dropped in packs. So there will be 4 different packs being dropped over a period of time, and that will happen very shortly. Now, what is interesting about it is it kind of like makes very like immediate access for the IPs. So we've also opened up the opportunity some of the other IPs. One is a project around Premier League football clubs. Another one is about Angry Foot, with Taboo. We're lining up the IPs that we're working with and actually trying to create some early adoption and also early opportunities for micro investors to take part of the IP. Now, our OG pass holders, that's also some alpha, will actually have an opportunity to get whitelisted for these stickers as well. So that is something that we're doing in the immediate coming couple of months. Now, when you look at Q3 and Q4, that's the moment when we do our TGE with the primary IP token launches and STR8FIRE going live. So our TGE is at the same time our STR8FIRE going to mainnet, and it will also be the period where the first Sukuk and tokenized funds go live, and the transfers to the IPs is going to happen. So basically, when you look at the roadmap, right, it's designed around real momentum, and not just, I love that word, like vaporware, right? We've secured full IP rights, and I think that that's essential for us because when we tokenize, there needs to be underlying assets, as we just discussed, and we're sequencing them for like phase drops, with each wave is tied to teaser content, fan engagement, strategic partnerships, etc. Now, when we go live with STR8FIRE, we also begin the onboarding through our tokenized fund and Sukuk structure, We also include some community rounds, whitelist campaigns, obviously the AMAs, but especially for the IPs with strong retail demand, there will be something special. So when you look at our platform, there's a staking tool with tier structure associated with. The top tier is our STR8FIRE studio. Now, how we kind of like jokingly describe it is you get into the director's chair and sitting at the front row, because you actually will have one-on-one sessions as a group, as a member of the STR8FIRE studio, with the IP owners. So if you want to know what's the next step for Angry Food, Taboo will be telling you what's in stock. We've been privileged on working with him on the IP, and I think, he's kind of like developed like a demo album with 10 songs in it. I think it's extremely exciting before any song is released to hear a demo of him kind of like doing his song, and that is kind of like a part of the whole like experience and user journey. So by Q4, the first tokenized IP slates will be tradable. We're launching with like a curated set of franchises that are both content ready, they're story rich, and they're also real world monetization. And that is, I think, also one of the exciting points is that if you buy tokens of the IP slate, it's not just for speculative purposes, right? There's real revenue being shared based on that. And I think that's also one of the reasons why we've opted for tokenizing a slate, is because the slate never dies, right? An IP can actually be a hit or a miss. It could also, if it's a hit, it could still kind of like stop at one moment, but the slate is continuously fed with new similar projects. So we just received an application, which is a reality TV show slate, with some of the world's biggest IPs in it, that are going for funding for future rollout of the IPs. Some are completely new formats, so unfortunately I cannot talk about it because it's highly confidential. But some of those, when I look at the new formats, it's so exciting to see it, because I can already see how it's gonna go. Because with all of those formats, they're backed by Talpa Studios, which is owned by the creator of The Voice, of Big Brother, of Deal or No Deal. It's backed by ITV Studios, like the owners of Survivor and stuff like that. So that's what makes it very exciting. So I've been kind of like going a little bit into what.
I think it's great, and really, it's investment that can go on for centuries, right? I mean, your
that's basically the idea, right? Yeah, that is not like a one trick pony. So I've been already kind of like been talking a little bit about the IPs, right? So, so the type of IPs that we have is it's like ODB, Old Dirty Bastard from the Wu-Tang Clan. We have, as I mentioned, the global like reality TV shows. We have an IP called Looking for God. It's $100 million revenue slate that includes an animation that will come out next year. There is a toy line. There's a game. There is comic books. Then there is something called, as a working title, Club Metaverse. Those are Premier League linked fan-owned football projects around ownable game assets. It's about mascots. It's about streaming live matches into a metaverse environment. One is the largest rock music catalog in the world with 45,000 songs, including unreleased Michael Jackson songs in it. There's so much coming, and we're loading up more and more and more. And I think all of this sounds, I think, quite cool, but I think the reality is that what we're trying to do here is we're trying to make it very accessible for everybody to get in on it, to get a piece of the pie. Also to bring some normalization, I would say, a little bit to Web3, where a token is not only based on the hype of the day, but actually has an underlying asset that is generating revenue. And I think you can, of course, invest in gold, right? A tokenized gold that has a fluctuating price. What I think is personally very exciting about the IP slate is if an IP hits, it hits big. It's an there is no end to it, and that's where the monetization part from the investment comes from. So you can invest for speculative purposes. That's perfectly fine. But you can also invest in it, keep it, and it's the passive income generator that probably a lot of people in Web3 are looking for. Now, what you can also do it, and I'm sure that you guys are also looking at that, is when you look at the RWA token of the IP slate, you can apply DeFi to it. And I think that is a scalability thing that doesn't exist in the real world. So because it's backed up by an underlying asset, you can think about lending and borrowing. You can think about creating some other maybe more complicated DeFi products. And I think with the I guess the movement in stable coins, it becomes an interesting opportunity to use those stablecoin reserves and actually put them to work. And this could be an interesting opportunity to invest in.
No, I think it's super bullish, and I'm totally blown away. You check green on all our boxes, experienced team, solid product behind, revenue behind. You have all the right characteristic for and DNA for a successful project. So we all in ourselves. We look forward to launching with you, and we're just waiting for the go from development, and we will
Exactly. Yeah, no, we're very happy with having you guys on board. And as people might, what they might not know is you guys have been involved a lot behind the scenes in advising us, in helping us, and getting our way around Web3. Although we've been in it for 4.5, 5 years already, I think by what people have seen is that we're very also Web2,
Yes.
and we know exactly our way around there. And in the Web3 side, we sometimes we're looking for some ways in, and you guys been very accommodating and helping us find partners, find investors through both professional and personal network of you, Kevin. And I think what we like really in kind of like working with you guys is that it's the straightforwardness, right? It's the no bullshit approach. It's about being open, being very forward and sharing. And I think maybe I'm convinced that your community sees it as well. I saw the burning activity a couple of days ago by as good gesture to the community to say, well, we're not only kind of talking about it, we're actually doing it. And I think that is the beauty of RWA Inc., the founders and the people in the team, and I guess also of the community, because you kind of like attract the community like in line with who you are as a project, who you are as people, right? And I think I've seen it with you, I've seen it with Mike, I've seen it with AJ, and other people on the team. I think everybody's very approachable, very helping, and always out there, right? I think being real people, and as we know, in Web3, that's not always the case. There's a lot of people that kind of like are hiding behind all kinds of facades, and you have no idea who are the real people behind it because they never really kind of like show themselves. But I think that's also part of the success of you guys. So yeah, I love it.
100%. And thank you for the kind words. We're very proud of working with you. So yeah, I mean, I'm blown away, and I think the community is too, and they want to know where can they find more info about you. So
yeah, so what you can do is you can actually go to our website, so straightfire.io, and that's STR8, the number 8, and then fire. And maybe a funny thing is like, where does the name come from, right? So we were looking at so it's a bit like street language, right? It's a bit like slang. So if something is hot, something is pumping, something is really like cool, you call it straight fire. So I think we try to live up to the name here. So straightfire.io, you can have a look at straightfire_io on Twitter. You will see our daily updates on what we're doing. It's a mixture of how we're doing as a company, how the IPs are doing, and what we see happening in the market, because we're very aware that the market that we're operating in is somewhat niche, right?
Yeah.
But it also provides access to the entertainment industry that a lot of people find very interesting, and it gives you the insights. So sometimes we organize AMAs.
Yeah.
We're in our Telegram. You can follow us on Telegram and on Discord. You can find it on our website, or also on Twitter. And make sure to kind of like go in there, because what you sometimes see is some of the AMAs, we get people from our like partners on board, but also people from the team. We've had David Vonner talk about toys, the toy business, and how he created the first toy for Marvel for the Spider-Man franchise, and how he's been building up that on that going forward. And you get a nice insight view on a different industry. And then sometimes it's about RWAs and how we tokenize the IPs and what's really in it. So I think it's a diverse type of information that you will find from us. And yeah, and then join the community, be part of it, be active, and that's maybe something that your community has also noticed with you and with Mike, being a little bit more on the forefront. You guys are also very approachable, so are we. So have a look, find us, send us a message. If you want to actively work on stuff, support in some shape or form, or if you have certain IPs that you would love to see on board, please.
This is the guy. STR8FIRE is the company.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting, right? Because in our niche, there's only a few, and because we're very early on, and what you also find us in AMAs that are on the crossroad of entertainment and tokenization, RWAs. And what you will see is that there's maybe like a handful of players there. So it's quite often a good place to get the insights from different angles. Like Interpool is also one of those that is working with Black Mirror at the moment, bringing that on chain and doing a great job with his project. And so I think if you want to find out more about RWAs, about tokenization, entertainment, IPs, feel free to join us, and occasionally I will drop into the RWA Inc. group as well. What I did before is
please do. You're welcome. And I can only say, check this company out, check the token out, the tokenomics, everything, and support, because this is a real project.
Maybe I take the opportunity as well, Kevin, is that when you look at the private round, right? So maybe some tokenomics here. So our FDV for the public round is 22 million.
That's important.
The private round is 17 million. You get a 10% at TGE for the private round.
That's
2-month cliff, 10-month vesting. I think we've tried to make tokenomics as fair as possible. What you will find is if you go on our socials and our website, you can find also our white paper. Everything is in there. There's no hiding. You can see the full tokenomics. When you look at tokenomics of the team, right, I think we're very much towards the last ones actually getting our tokens, which is the way it's supposed to be. Right, we are fully committed to this project, so we believe in the long-term view of this, and we would love to have you on board and check out the private investors a part of RWA Inc. platform when it's live. I've seen that you guys have a great campaign set up with some additional benefits for the early investors. So I would urge everybody to have a look at it, because guys, free money, I think it's all.
I know. I feel like I want to buy more now. I'm super bullish. So I'm super excited, and I can only say, go check it out. So I think also the time is about to run out here. So I will thank everyone for listening, and for you, Chris and STR8FIRE, to join this great AMA. We will be recording and sharing the link, and we will also invite you again. And
Awesome. Appreciate it, Kevin, and I really was really great to be here and to speak to your community again, and hopefully we can kind of like talk to them a little bit more, and hope to see them actually on board of the STR8FIRE family.
yeah, let's do it. Let's fucking go, as you say. And thank you so much, guys. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Okay, bye-bye.